Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Borderlands 3, and today I want to talk about some new legendary items that are available right now as part of the brand new event. The new Cartel event went live yesterday, Revenge of the Cartels. It's available from yesterday until June 4th, so it's another one of those limited time events, kind of like the Halloween one, where you have to go out and there's some stuff you can kind of do in the open world to begin with. You speak to Maurice, you then go and pick different activities. It can be like proving grounds, general missions. You kill Cartel, you gather intel, and once you've done that, you can then gain access to the new location, which is the Ultraviolet Villa, or Villa Ultraviolet, should I say. Once you're there, you then get to farm through, fight through some new enemies, fight the new boss, and of course get some new legendary items in the process. There's a grand total of 9 new legendary items tied specifically to this event. There is also the Mayhem 2.0 update, which in itself comes with some new legendaries, and we'll be speaking about that in a separate video. But for the time being, I want to turn my attention to the brand new legendary items as part of the Cartel event. So if you guys do enjoy this, then like would be super appreciated. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have had a chance to jump in yourself. Let me know if you've been lucky enough to get any of these items. But let's start off by talking about the Iceberger, which is a rather interesting Hyperion shotgun. I actually really like this one, and honestly, this hits pretty hard. We've been running through a lot of stuff, like when we first ran through these events, we ran through in whatever difficulty, but we've been doing a lot of stuff on Mayhem 10, and this is a pretty powerful weapon. It's a shotgun, but it fires out this continual laser beam, but on top of that, true to its name, it also fires out frozen burgers, hence why it's called the Iceberger weapon. So the actual damage that comes out of it is like these fire lasers, but you then have the added effect of frost or ice because of course you have the frozen burgers. So it's a pretty fun weapon to use, looks cool in motion, but it's also pretty powerful. Moving on from there to the next weapon, this is a COV rocket launcher, and this thing is very, very good. This is called the Yellowcake, and basically what happens with this one is it splits into 4 balls that drop and explode, and it has massive splash damage radius, and this is very, very powerful. It's one of those ones, I mean, rocket launchers, generally speaking, can be pretty meaty anyway, but this one, we used it on a lot of the bosses, a lot of the enemies we've been fighting in some of this stuff, and again, been using it in Mayhem 10, and honestly, this hits like a truck. It is really, really good. I mean, unless, of course, something's not weak to radiation, but generally speaking, this is a weapon that you want to be looking out for. Moving on from there, we then have the Needlegun XXL. This is a TDR weapon, so again, you have that kind of typical TDR behavior with this one, but it's interesting because this one applies a stacking vulnerability debuff on the enemy, and when you've got max stacks, additional damage refills the Needlegun's magazine, and this of course in itself does have a cooldown, so effectively you shoot enemies to apply a debuff to them, and you then get a damage boost when you reload, so it is actually a pretty interesting weapon to try out. After that, we have an assault rifle, the OPQ System. This is an Atlas weapon, so of course one of those ones with a rather interesting alternative fire mode. And what's really cool about this one, of course, weapon-wise in itself is pretty cool. It's got some decent damage to it, got a decent magazine size, reload rate, all that kind of stuff like that. But the interesting thing with this is the alternate fire option. When you use the alternate fire mode for this, it spawns a drone copy of itself that targets where you aim. So it's basically like having a little flying buddy, whenever you shoot your enemies. Next up, we have the Grease Trap. This is a Malawan pistol, and this one is really, really interesting. So it does incendiary damage, but it's got this interesting element to it because initially it effectively fires out grease, which is like a spread shot, and you then have the fire starter effect, which then fires fireballs, which basically sets the grease on fire. So this is an incredibly flammable weapon, and of course, in some situations, if you happen to get an anointed one, this one is pretty good because while your action skill is active, you also get 75% more damage to badass named and boss enemies, and this one does hit pretty nicely, especially if something is weak to fire. You can get some nice mileage out of this weapon. And then finally on the weapon front, we have the second AR that is called the NoPew, which is a brilliant name. And this one is a COV assault rifle, and it's got the red text that says extra, extra spicy. And it's got this rather interesting perk where basically the longer you fire, the more hellfire it deals. So obviously it's got incendiary damage, and you then want to try and sort of maintain fire. So see it kind of almost like a machine gun in that respect. The longer you fire, the more hellfire this thing dishes out. After that, we then have a couple of shields and a grenade to play with. So the grenade is brilliant. I mean, it just looks brilliant. It is called the Fish Slap, and it says, say hello to my little fish, which is brilliant. But more importantly, the damage on this thing is actually melee damage. So this is another one of those ones, kind of like the Face Puncher back in the day, which was of course really good for Amara builds if you happen to have like a melee focused build. This is incredibly good if you want to, you know, pair those things together for some meaty melee damage. And it also heals shields for 30% of the shield damage dealt. Then finally, to round it all out, we have a couple of shields. We have the Firewall Shield. For this one, the projected shield has a chance to fire projectiles at attackers, and a portion of the projectile's damage restores your shields. Meanwhile, the other one is the Watson, and this one, when you receive damage, it spawns a grenade of that particular element. So pretty handy, you know, if you're being attacked by X element, then at least the returning grenade will match that element. So, largely speaking, that is pretty much it. It's worth noting for those of you guys that want to farm these, most of these items can come from pretty much anywhere in the new area. In fact, some of these don't even need to be in the new area. Some of them we went into a proving grounds to basically farm the cartel intel, and in the process of doing that, we got some of these to drop. But largely speaking, if you go into the new area, they can drop from many of the different enemies. Sometimes you'll see the Fish Slap enemy spawn, which is like a big sort of bandit. There are some other named bosses, people like Josie Bites, Tyrone Smallums, Franco Firewall. People like that, of course, can drop a specific weapon, but largely speaking, most of these items do appear to come from organically playing through the new content. So jump in, farm it, push up the mayhem levels if you want to increase your drop chance, and enjoy some of these items. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the Arekkz Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there if you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with. It's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.